Caught you coughing there, Jimmy. How are you, sir?
Happy 2025.
Indeed. Happy 2025. Unbelievable. We're already here. It's just, wow. And I think 2025 is going to go just as quickly as 2024, at least for me. And, breaking news Mike Johnson has been elected the Speaker of the 119th Congress. There was no 4 day rounds of elections, but the Republicans seem to have learned their lesson and gotten their crap together, and here we go.
Well, yeah, but they still only have a margin of three.
Sure
So,
do. Sure do.
so
And they keep,
nobody could get sick, even though they have one sick person in the great state of Texas. But that's another story for another day. We're
yes.
going to see what's going to happen. But it is going to be an interesting next 2 years. I would
Yes.
like to see what happens with the House and the Senate, and to a certain degree, what happens with everything. Because at this point, the appointments that Trump has made are very interesting. They're not qualified, but they are disruptive. They
Yeah.
don't know what they're doing, but they know how to criticize an agency to make a living. They don't know how to fix the agency, and now it's going to be okay. Who are we going to blame it on for the next 2 years? Because we can't blame it on Democrats because we have absolute control. So basically, we have a problem. So I just want to see what happens for the next 2 years, and it's going to be interesting.
I agree, Jimmy, because I pretty much said the same to people who are willing to listen. If Trump and the Republicans have one big victory, um, they're they're se- they're secure and maintaining control of federal government, and even here in the state of government, because it all trickles down. The Republicans will maintain control for the rest of that of his term. Now, if things are disastrous or even multiple minor setbacks, this does give the Democrats an opportunity to win, period, to win. However, the big difference between uh, Donald J. Trump now versus Donald J. Trump when he was sworn into office in 2016 is the fact that in 2016 he really didn't think he was going to win, and he wasn't prepared on day one. Now that he has Susie Wiles as his chief of staff, and he has people that he knows that he can trust. They have shown their loyalty to him and are very knowledgeable about things outside of government and inside government. I see that the first 100 days will be more successful, a lot more successful than Trump's first 100 days back in 2016 when he won election.
It can be, but it depends what route he wants to take. Uh, he's not talking about the wall anymore. He's talking about deporting. Now, deporting
Yes.
costs a lot of money. I'm not sure it's going to take some time. So in the first 100 days, there's not going to be any mass deportation because it will take more than 100 days to program it, do it, and get everything rolling. So that's not going to happen. Uh, is he going to be able to do anything effective with any of the agencies? Not sure because realistically, it's going to take some time. So my concern is he going to become the master of, let me give you the impression that I'm doing something by saying, okay, we just deported 10,000 people today. And next week we deport another 10,000 people. We closed the frontier, I mean, the border. Nobody could come in other than coming in illegally, which we've never been able to do because we don't have enough personnel for it and nobody wants to fund it. So let's stop pretending. So we're not going to allow people to come in here and say you have a hearing in 6 years to decide what's going to happen with you. And in between, no, people are just going to say, well, we don't go through the border patrol because they're going to stop us. So let's use the coyotes and let's go the illegal ways all over again. So, yeah, that's might be a thing. They're going to stop publishing crimes committed by uh, illegals because now they're in control and they should have taken care of it. And now that they're in control, they should not be. So, what are their positions and how they're going to present it is a problem because he's never been good with imaging. He's always been bad there. He,
Sure.
if he decides I'm going to do my press conferences, he's going to look stupid. If he's going to let his people do them, then they're going to be different. Uh, I want to hear the conference of January 21st when the new press secretary says that the crowd was huge, which I might say something. I think this time it will be.
I, Jimmy, from my friends on the right, I'm anticipating a large crowd, a very excited crowd in DC. And, the weeks leading up to DC, the number of and this is common, the number of galas and balls and dinners that are planned. They're looking for a very big week.
Yeah. So it's going to be huge. So they don't have to lie like the last time they did. But this time it's going to be what are they going to do? The little things that create impressions. I have given orders that to close the border. Okay, the southern border because you're not going to close the northern border because the white people come through there, so you don't have a problem with that. It's the southern border. Okay, I have given an order to deport people. Yeah, you gave it, and I know that when you have something like 11 million, to send out 10 is what I like to call, let me give you the impression I'm doing something.
Right.
Yeah. But right now, in an average, what most people don't know, the president that has most deported people was not Trump, not
It
even
was
close.
Obama.
It was Obama.
It was Obama. He was nicknamed the deporter in chief, by the way.
Yes. So we'll see if he's going to be able to match him or surpass him, which I seriously doubt. Uh, because they have a problem. They want to keep the border as a problem so they can have something to run on.
Wow, that's a very good point. I thought about that. It's like the homelessness situation. It's a job maker. It's a job creator for nonprofits. And so, if you actually solve the problem of homelessness, then you see a lot of people losing work in nonprofits and other entities that work with the homeless population. So yeah, I get it. I get it, Jimmy. And some people are taking a close look at funding, how we fund homelessness efforts to eradicate it. And that's another story for another time.
Well, yeah, but you see, the problem here is that I don't think they realize that with a three-person margin, they still could have to work and with the Democrats
Right.
because if they lose one or two people, then they're going to need Democrats votes. As a matter of fact, the last time around that to right now to get the continual resolution passed, he had to work with the Democrats. He couldn't get it done strictly by Republicans. It just wouldn't happen.
Right.
So yes, it's going to take some horse trading here. So it's going to be interesting what's going to be done and how much soon is he going to turn on people. Now, the other thing is, as soon as it comes around and they confirm Marco Rubio, who is DeSantis going to appoint? We all know he's going to appoint himself. So that's good. We're going to have Nunez as our governor, and if
Yeah.
Nunez is our governor, in with the dysfunctional Florida Democratic Party, and the functional chair of the party, we're just going to go down the goose, and she's going to be reelected and we lost Miami. We're going to lose it again, and we might lose Brevard. So, sorry, for our Democratic Party, get your act together because right now, what you're doing is not working.
Well, there you go. There you go, listeners and viewers. That is 2025 for the Democrats, all wrapped up right there. And Jimmy, I can't say anything different. I mean, you said it. Going back to Congress, you have Representative Mike Waltz, who is going to be a national security advisor, if I remember correctly, for President-elect Trump. So Congressional District 6, I believe, is already scheduled for an election. So that brings that vote margin even closer. Then you have Elaine Stefanik, Representative Stefanik, who is also leaving. Congress to join the Trump administration. So we're down to a one vote margin for some time until the special elections come through. We have the special election in CD1. Like you said, Matt Gates' seat. I believe that election is scheduled for April 1st, or right around that time. So, yeah, the Republicans they'll have to in the 119th. They'll have to tread delicately as
And
far
and if you look, April is past the 100 days.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
That's
Yes, it
why
is.
when people tell me, what is he going to accomplish? I'm not sure because he keeps talking about the Panama Canal,
Yes.
Greenland. He keeps talking about making Canada the 51st state,
Yeah.
telling Ukraine that he with today is 16 days away and he still hasn't solved Ukraine and Russia. So we'll see that one go down, you know, and see what happens. And I would like just to somebody create a countdown from day one of all the things he hasn't done. Just say it's day 15, and we're still waiting for Ukraine to be solved. He said that day one he will fix it. Well,
Mhm.
another lie, Mr. Trump. So, and, do that because that's the problem that we have as Democrats. We are the nice people. When they go low, we go high. No, when they go low, we go lower. When they call us something, we call them a liar. Weird. Do you realize that they studied a word that would not be offensive so they could call them and they came up with weird? Yeah.
I I can believe that focus group or
Yeah. I
poll
know.
everything.
All that BS. As a matter of fact, go back to, I think it was CBS. They had when they elected Mike as their chair, as a
Okay.
speaker. And right next to they elected the minority speaker for the Democrats, and there's three Democrats sitting right next to them, not applauding on their phones.
Really,
Really.
that's great for optics.
Oh, it was done on purpose. Trust me, that was done on purpose.
Hmm.
Look, the party is going to have to sit down and organize and say, what do we need to do to change? We cannot keep up with this same bullshit. We cannot keep up and be in denial. The party's in denial. They are not communicating. They're not reaching the people. They're not doing their job.
Well, Jimmy, one of my friends out of Detroit who watch our shows, a shout out to Marcy, brought to my attention an op-ed. I believe it was in the Wall Street Journal, no, the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal. I cannot recall. I think it was the Times. An op-ed by James Carville, the famous
I'm a
Louisiana.
hero.
Yes, yes.
It's the
Uh,
Kennedy, stupid.
and he said he was wrong. He said he was wrong about the election and predicting the election for Harris. And he said that the bottom line was it was all about the economy. Marcy wants to talk a little bit more about it, and there's other issues, of course. However, in the article, Carville pretty much said, the Democrats missed an opportunity to connect with the, average working Americans and talk to their concerns and their perception of how the economy is for Americans and their kitchen table issues. And instead of, hope and love, uh, it should have been a conversation about the economy.
Well, the problem is that they did not want to make it about the economy because they were in control of the economy, basically, and they would
Mhm.
have to admit that some of the things that they did were wrong. And look, this is an intelligent people. You can say, look, we tried this. We thought this is what's going to happen, but it backfired on us, and we apologize for that.
Mhm.
But politicians don't apologize, don't want to let go of power, and they don't care if their party loses as long as they're still in power in their party. And that is the
Yeah.
problem that the Democrats have right now. We
Uh,
knew for over a year that Biden was not going to run, that Biden was senile, that Biden was out of it. What we saw in June was a group of people who pushed for that early debate so people could realize it, who he was, and enforce him out. He should have kept his word. I'm one term and I'm out of here, and then have a real primary. Right now,
yeah.
in a couple of weeks, Kamala is going back to California. She's not the leader of this party.
No.
Neither Schumer, neither is Rifkin. They're
Right.
not. We don't have a leader. We don't have somebody who's going to go out there and say, "Hey, let's get this. Let's brawl us in." What we're waiting for is 2028 to see who our candidate for president is going to be, and then it's going to be too late. You need to get
Agree.
rid of the wokeness. You need to get rid of trying to be politically correct. You need
Yeah.
to say this is what we stand for, and don't deviate from that. And with all due respect, listen to the people. But what are they doing? We're going to have a great celebration on January 20th. We're going to give power to Donald Trump, and we're going to be the loyal opposition. And as long as I can suck power away from people, I don't care if my body goes or comes. And that is the problem. That is the problem with the party.
Yep.
They need to sit down and say, we fucked up here by doing this and by not doing that. We could have had a brilliant opportunity to go out and have a primary, have somebody as a candidate had nothing to do with Biden or his administration. Say, look, I agree, Biden screwed up with this. Oh no. But we have people who are so afraid of doing anything that when even asked the question, hey, would you done something different from Biden? No. Everything he did was okay. No, it wasn't. He screwed up to screw up. As a matter of fact, at the end of the last year, he was not even running the show. Nobody really knows who it was, to be quite honest. But that is a sad thing to say, but it's the truth.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Jimmy. And as you were speaking, I was pulling up an article I read earlier this week or last week, I believe. And I was going to do I'm planning on doing the podcast on this particular topic, but it's in regards to, um, yeah, now former Minnesota Congressman uh, Dean Phillips. And to speak to what needs to change in the Democratic Party, I'll say this. In the article, he says that the party needs a comprehensive turnaround, and conventional wisdom no longer works. A party that consists of multiple silos and campaign committees and outside groups cannot strategically do its job, and that means leadership. Right now, we, the Democrats, are totally devoid of leadership. We are rudderless. And that was former Congressman Dean Phillips in his last words to Politico, as he is going back to Minnesota and not necessarily exiting politics altogether, and perhaps 55-year-old Dean Phillips could be the outsider that the Democrats need to provide that type of leadership on a national level.
Look, I'm going to say that politics in the United States has changed. Let's start by one thing. When I was in the military, I was trained, learn what your opposition does, learn it well, and learn how to counterattack it. And sometimes even learn what they're doing that is good and copy it. Now, why am I bringing this? A certain person came down this escalator and said some really crazy, stupid things.
He did.
He went against 16 other people. He swept the floor with them.
Yes, he did.
I just come back from Georgia where I spent some time with my family, and there was this guy who made a statue of him made out of wood and put it in his front yard.
Oh, wow.
This is rural Georgia. This is a Blue Ridge. Okay.
Okay, yes. Beautiful country.
Beautiful country. I love it there. Great. One of the greatest Cuban restaurants in the middle of Georgia.
Really? Uh-oh.
Rum Cake Lady. You're going to love it. They also have one in the border of Georgia and Tennessee. I think it's Wayne or Coy County. Beautiful.
Okay.
Good food. Great coffee. Okay.
Uh-oh.
The thing is, he came down. He talked to the people. He convinced the people. He took a party that was divided among conservatives, among those who were believers of a strict government, those who were believe that yes, you can negotiate with the other side, those who felt that that's incorrect, those like Salem Palin, and those like even Mitch McConnell.
Right.
Even though he knew how to be a leader, but he also knew how to deal with the other side. The truth of the matter, it really doesn't matter anymore. But this is the fact. He's a strict leader. The people love him. He talks to them in a tone of what they want to hear. He tells them that their life sucks because it does, and that it's not their fault. It's the government's fault that their life sucks, and that if they want to be a great nation again, elect me. What do? We're happy. Everything is okay. There's no problem in the world. They're weird. No, they're not weird. We are weird. We think that we can convince people with bullshit.
Yeah.
That time is over with. You're going to have to come to the table and present to the people, look, this country's fucked up. You're right. Is it the fault of the immigrants? Not really. Is it the fault of your government? Yeah. Why? Because your government has let you down. Your government has created NAFTA. NAFTA is not the problem. It's that the people who prepare NAFTA said, hey, I don't give a shit. I just want something cheaper from these nations, so I'll let them have some transgressions. Fine. I don't care. I want my eggs, my milk, my produce all cheaper from these people. I'll get it. And I have a market that I can sell my junk on, and they'll buy it. That's all I care about. If people think that the government runs the government, they're sadly mistaken. It is the private industry. People want to take your money, put it in their pocket, and the government allows them to do so. That's what we need to do. We need to stop pretending that everything is okay, because even I, as a Democrat, don't believe that shit.
Wait, Jimmy. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Some people believe it's true. I don't. Not everything is okay. Is our government doing wrong? Yes. I'll give you an example that I do every day. Social Security has a problem. A continued funding resolution continues at the same level. Okay, there's no increases for software purchase, for hiring extra people, for doing. They have to have a separate thing at the end of the year where they give us a 3 to 5% extra every year. Whoopee, whoopee, whoopee. They have done nothing to continue funding the Social Security Administration because even Democrats and Republicans would love to eliminate it. We want to talk about cutting fat out of the government. Yeah, the biggest waster of money in this country is defense. Not because defense is wasteful, but the defense contractors overcharge us for things that we don't need, sell us things that we don't need. As a matter of fact, the prime example was Ukraine. With Ukraine, what we did is we gave them our excess
Yeah.
of what we had, ammunition, grenades, all that stuff that we had in excess. We're going to give it to you. And then we're going to go buy new stuff. That's why the contract defense people were behind it. When people say to us, well, why doesn't NATO spend 2% like we do? We spend more than 2%. You're right. But
Yeah.
we waste most of our money because we have defense contractors. In Europe, they don't allow defense contractors. That is not a business.
Mm-hmm.
The government builds their own stuff. The government controls their own machinery. So
Yeah.
it is a completely different posture. Here, the biggest waste of money, defense. We have more
Military
tanks.
industrial complex.
We have more tanks than we could use in 10 wars. But we have them. And we send them to Ukraine. We send them ammunition. We send them enough bullets, and we still have bullets that we could kill half of the world population, even if we don't hit them at the first chance. But that is the problem. But people think that if we talk about defense contractors, we're talking about the soldiers. No, we're not. Even
Right.
the soldiers will tell you that's a waste of money. Because
Right.
when I had the uniform on, I always said it.
Eisenhower was correct, and to warn America about the military-industrial complex, and the information I have is correct, and aligning with what you said. It's the contractors, yes, who do build the government and provide things that are not necessary. And if the Department on Efficiency and Government, Department of Government Efficiency, uh, is going to identify and be honest about identifying the excesses in government, they need to be transparent and honest. Again, that word honest, and looking at the Department of Defense, even NASA, or the Space Force. I know that's something close to the funding for Elon Musk and his Starlink and his SpaceX and things like that. However, we'll see if that particular office or that particular initiative is serious about identifying and recommending cutting waste in government. Going back to what you were saying, Jimmy, about the Democrats and the messaging and what they were telling Americans, as I was watching the campaigns and listening to the Democrats and liberals and progressives and the Harris Walz campaign, and hearing this, again, hair on fire. We've got a dictator in waiting to take over America, and dropping the F word, fascist, and just hearing that over and over again. But then the dichotomy of it all was seeing these rallies where it was, the booty shaking and, the line dancing and the partying. And, and that's what rallies are, I guess. However, what was shown and what was heard then, and seeing everyone just disappear, those voices gone. I'm like, was Donald J. Trump an existential threat to democracy back then? I think the answer is no, in my opinion. Um, because now it's like, okay, he's president, election's over. Harris is, in Hawaii. She's celebrating Thanksgiving, the holidays, things like that. I was like, what happened to the sense of urgency? Will we fed another line just to get, this person elected? The same as, Trump saying, I will lower the cost of your groceries, which I mean, anyone with any common sense will tell you that's not what presidents do. But people bought into it, and they bought into the whole fascist line too.
Yeah, but at the same time, they bought into it because what are we offering them? Okay, can we sit here and say that the Biden administration was a great administration? No. Can we say that Biden was elected because the people thought he was going to be a great president? No. Can we say that Biden was elected because at that point they wanted to get rid of Donald Trump? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can we say three great things that Biden did as president? No. Can we say that the economy was better? Not really. Can we say that things were easier to get? No, not really.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so, what was so great that we were celebrating? Was everybody? Did everybody have three chickens in the pot?
No.
No. Were people struggling? Yeah. But what we could say is we decided to copy the Republicans and we're going to fear. He is going to be a Hitler. He's a fascist. He is going to do this. He's a racist. This country is mostly racist, so let's
Yeah.
stop pretending that it's not.
It's a part of life right here in America.
Uh, you know, it's interesting when I hear people from other countries say, "Why do people try to pretend that you're not?" I say, "I don't know, but we do." Uh, so basically, does, what were we offering? We're not as bad as the other guy.
Yeah.
Really, you and I have worked campaigns. Would you recommend any of your clients? Hey, our strategies. I'm not as bad as that guy.
Oh hell no.
Okay,
Oh hell no.
but that was the basic campaign. We're not as bad as the other guy, uh,
Yeah.
and we're going to continue doing bad shit. But we're going to continue doing it.
Hmm.
And by the way, we have denied the right to people to elect their own candidate for president.
That's
Look,
correct.
our party has a lot of things to be concerned about. When Obama started running, the figures in the party did not want him. Let's stop pretending that
That's
they did.
true.
Bill Clinton made some comments that were really unacceptable and
I
borderline
remember.
racist. Okay,
Yep.
when Hillary lost, the Clintons wanted to claim power. You know, maybe it's time that we get somebody new. David Phillips, I would have no problem. David, if you listen to my podcast, which be surprised if you did, but if you do, contact me. I'll help you out as much as I can.
I'll make sure we tag Dean Phillips in this, and I will also mention that when I do my podcast in regards to the interview with Dean and some of the insights that he left with Politico.
Because right now, this party desperately needs a leader.
Yes,
It
it does.
doesn't have one. And it looks like the first 100 days of Trump, there's going to be no leader here. And what do we need? Somebody who could come down and say, hey, look, Biden, Harris, they fucked up.
Yeah.
Shoemaker, fucked up.
Go ahead.
Uh, we fucked up. Okay, now we have learned from our experiences. We're going to be doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and we're not offering you to lower your property taxes because that's your county where you live. We're not going to promise to reduce the prices in the supermarket because the president doesn't have control of that. I can tell you what we could do to control things in your life. We're going to sit down and cut out of defense waste, not the salaries of anybody, but waste, and we're going to cut out of there. we're going to cut out of waste into the federal government in general. And by the way, we're going to make sure that this town is not run by the rich and powerful, but run by you, because we are the party of the common citizen. We need to go back to that. We are the party of the middle class, not of the rich.
Jimmy, to talk about the one thing that resonated, and we've been talking about it throughout this conversation, was the conversation about the economy and what can Trump do in his first 100 days. I think if there's anything that Trump could do that will have its most immediate effects, as far as optics, even, would be to on day one say, "Hey, we're laying down tariffs to protect the steel industry." It was reported today that Biden is supporting that the Nippon Steel purchase of a American steel mill does not go through. Um, Donald J. Trump's support of tariffs to protect the American auto industry. I've got some mixed feelings about that because the Chinese do make a really good electronic vehicle. BYD, I think, is the name of the car maker. They make some fine EVs, and if we're moving in that direction, well, at least the world seems to be. America seems to be doubling down on hybrids. Um, I think at the end of the day, American automakers are going to have to come to the hard decision and realization that they need to streamline and get with the international market, and start building, EVs, more EVs. As far as tariffs, I think that would be both on optics and as far as immediate effects, something that Trump would do that in the first 100 days that would address those economic issues that he discussed during um, the campaign season.
Currently, the Chinese cars are heavily taxed.
Yeah.
Uh, so that putting a tariff is not going to make much, because the most expensive car to buy, electric car, was the Tesla, and we all know what helped it, that people, the rich and the powerful, have been buying them.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised that the rich and the powerful buy the Chinese cars. It's going to go without saying. My concern is, how do you do it and allow what I call free market? Uh,
Mhm. Yeah.
the one thing is, when he says, I'm going to put a 20% of everything coming from China, okay, that might kill Timu, like a lot of people tell me it might, and make Bezos some more money. But what people don't realize is that three, uh, 2/3 of everything that Bezos sells comes from China.
Exactly.
So it's going to affect him anyway. Uh, when you say, I'm going to do it with products from Canada, well, get ready to prepare to pay more for milk and food and stuff like that. If you say you're going to do that in Latin America right now, the
Yeah.
strawberries and the raspberries and the blueberries that you're eating come from Chile, because down there now is summer, and they're producing it and they're sending their excess to us. So be careful of what you want. Uh, this country doesn't produce much lately. So when we say, I'm going to put a tariff, yeah, put it. And when people have to pay more on the market for it, you're going to have a problem. And that is going to be the concern I have. I'll give you an example. Most people don't know this, but I would say this without hesitation, that 80% of all auto parts are not made in the United States.
That's right.
They're
Yeah.
made in South Korea.
Hmm. That's right.
So if you say, I'm going to put a 30% increase on tariffs from things in South Korea, guess what? Your refrigerators, your dishwashers, your stoves,
Yeah.
Your microwaves, and I can keep on going, are going to be
Yeah.
30% more expensive because they don't do them here. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I happened to my wife and I, she still lives in a different world, and she said, "Well, what are these?" We went to Home Depot to buy new equipment because we needed it. Ours was purchased in '88, so it was kind of old, But and she says, "Well, which one of these are produced in the United States?" And the lady looked at her and said, "None." You mean to tell me that GN, no, General Electric is not produced in the United States? Nope. LG, no, it's not. No, none of these are. They all come from South Korea. Really? Yes.
None. Wow.
Okay. TVs, none. And we could keep going on. People.
Mhm.
So if when you talk about TERFs, it sounds nice to say we're screwing the Chinese, but TERFs are you got to charge people 20% more to buy a foreign product. It is meant to keep foreign products outside of our market and allow our products to survive. Uh, if you do that on all Chinese things, you're going to have a cost of living going hike, and that might cost the Republicans the election in 2026.
The intricacies of the economy. It's these. Wow. These tariffs will have to be specific. They have to be targeted, and you know, there's a lot of trust in government when it comes to these matters, and we know that trust in government is low, at least
It's
with a
not
certain
existent.
portion. What's that, Jimmy?
It's not existent. Nobody trusts the
Yeah,
government.
right,
Nobody.
right.
It's sad
It's
to think, but the people out there, you tell them, do you trust your government? They'll tell you no.
yeah. Right. But they'll reelect their congressperson, their representatives back to Congress over 90% or at 90% at least of incumbents win their seat back. So, so there's a they may trust their own representatives, but no one else.
Yeah, like in Distinguished Gentleman.
Right.
You use the same last name and you get elected.
Exactly, exactly. And speaking of trusted government, to bring it closer to Florida, we've had two Democrats leave the party, and now they're caucusing as Republicans with the Republicans in the Florida state legislature. And of course, there's your usual, Democrats are saying, "Oh, it's desertion," and "How dare you?" And there's even more reactionary statements about there should be a recall and reelection. That these two, Representative Valdez out in Hillsborough, and I believe Representative Castle down in South Florida, um, have changed their party affiliation, now caucusing with the Republicans. Valdez was, if I remember correctly, given a committee chairmanship. So that's reaping benefits for her. But as I see the back and forth, well, at least the Democrats are expressing their displeasure. As you kind of as you pull back the layers, you'll see that Valdez ran unopposed, okay, and her district went to Trump and had been trending conservative for several election cycles, and even more so with Castle. Her district also voted for Trump, and her district was trending more conservative. And to put it even closer to us here in Orange County, Castle and Valdez shared the distinct company of having two of the three Democratic representatives sit in districts where Donald Trump won. In that third district is freshman Representative Leonard Spencer in House District 45. He narrowly defeated Representative Carolina Amnesty to win that seat, and those three seats did go to Trump. So as I look at the numbers and the historic numbers, I can understand why Valdez, who was termed out anyhow, um, say, "Hey, I want to matter." Castle felt that Democrats did not support Israel in the way that she believes they should have, among other things. However, I can understand why they see that it was the writing was on the wall, and to get things done, it was better to caucus with the Republicans than with the Democrats.
And I have no problem with that. Look,
Mm-hmm.
you try to survive. The only thing that I have a problem with is, yeah, you want to enrich yourself as a Republican? Be my guest. Do so. Be my guest.
Yeah.
But try to realize that at the end of the day, they're not going to trust you. But that's being said. So, are you ready for Three Kings Day?
I'll be there. Unfortunately, I will not be one of the kings. I love that tradition. It is one of the crowning achievements, being involved with Commissioner Maribel Gomez's administration, her district, and as her political advisor. We were the Three Kings since the very first one in her administration, and
The first 6 years, so the last two, why not?
yes, and it breaks my heart a little bit. However, it's change. It's the commissioner's decision, and I'll be there as a civilian. And this time, I'll be able to eat many hot dogs as I can possibly eat. So I'll save my appetite for that. But when you look at it, Jimmy, is all about the kids and seeing the smiles on their faces, and just seeing the joy in their eyes, and just that's what Three Kings is all about for me. Just the joy that the children have, and receiving the gifts, and just being a part of that celebration. So again, congratulations to the commissioner, to her team, and it's going to be a wonderful Three Kings Day.
As always, that's true.
Yes,
So
yes,
with that in mind, and because I'm about to lose my voice,
yes,
I will say I will see you all next week, and hopefully we will have some more information about what's going to happen with the Florida Democratic Party.
indeed, indeed. I will keep my. Oh, next week is going to be a very busy one for me, Jimmy. I will be in and out of so many different circles, and then there's some significant changes happening with Jay in Washington that I can't wait to share even more as we finalize things with you and with everyone else. But there'll be a new revised website. It'll still look the same for the most part, but with some special additions to it. But here we go. We're all up into 2025 already. What would you like to talk about next week?
Let's talk about the cabinet appointments that Mr. Trump is doing. Which do we think will pass, and which do we think will fail?
All right. Okay. I think the Democrats are going to want those representatives who have been nominated. They're going to approve those as quickly as possible so they can get that vote margin down to one, to zero. Who knows? But that will lead us. That'll lead us off in our conversation next week.
Not a problem.
All right. Well, Jimmy, you take care of yourself. You got a special message for our listeners and our viewers?
Yes. Subscribe. Give us your comments, good or bad. And if anything, if you have a question, put it down. We'll answer it.
Yes,
Take
indeed.
care. See you next week.
Thank you, Jimmy. Take care. We'll see you next week. This is From the Margins with James LaFont and David Washington. Jimmy, you take care of yourself, please.
And
Please
you
take
take
care
care
of
of
yourself.
yourself too. Okay.
Will do.
Okay.